3 reading for the test from Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph. Here we go. Ve'elu hein shematzilin otam b'nafshan. The Mishnah begins that these are those who, we should know this phrase well. Matzilin otam b'nafshan literally means to save them with their life. Latzil means to save, b'nafshan with their life. We'd mentioned that we can define it in a few different ways, but we're going to say that we'll focus on that you can save the victim with the life of the sinner. Basically, that you can kill the sinner to save the victim. In the case where one is chasing after his fellow to kill him, so to prevent murder. V'achar hazachar, in the case where a man is trying to rape another man. V'achar na'ara hama'orasa, and when a man is chasing after an engaged woman. Aval, rodef achar behema, if one is chasing after an animal to commit bestiality. V'hamachalel tashabat, and one is about to violate Shabbat. V'oved avodat kochavim, or one is about to worship avodah zarah. We do not save them with their life. We do not kill the sinner to prevent the sin from taking place. The Gemara begins. Tanu Rabbanan. We learn in the Braita. Minayan l'rodef achar chavero l'hargo. What is minayan? From where? In the case of where the man is chasing after his fellow to kill him, shenitan lahatzilo b'nafsho, that you are, nitan means allowed, you can see there, that you are allowed to save him with his life. What's the source? The Mishnah just said we could. How do we know that that's true? This Talmud Lomar, the Braita answers, Lo tamod adam re'echa. We have a pasuk, Lo tamod adam re'echa, do not be a bystander. Do not stand by your fellow's blood. V'hala hachi hu da'ata, but for this does it come? Meaning, does this pasuk come to teach us this halacha about killing the rodef? Hai mi ba'ilei, it is required, we need it, l'chiditanya, like this, as this following Braita says, that this pasuk is already being used to teach us a different halacha, as we see in this Braita. Minayan l'ro ed chavero. What is the source? That if you see your friend shehu tovea banahar, who is about to drown in the river, o chaya gorarto, or a wild animal is dragging him, o listin ba'inalav, or bandits are about to come to him, meaning his life is in danger, shehu chayav lahatzilo, that you have an obligation to save him. So this Braita is asking, what's the source that you are required to save someone in danger just by throw them a life vest, scare away the tiger? Talmud lomar lo tamod adam re'echa. The pasuk says lo tamod adam re'echa. So the Gemara is saying, the Gemara is pointing out that this pasuk is already teaching us the basic obligation to save someone. It can't also teach us the obligation to kill the rodef in hachinami. The Gemara responds, yes, it is indeed so. You're right. That pasuk is already being used. We reject this possibility of lo tamod adam re'echa. Ve'ela, but rather nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho minalan. So then, what's the source that you are allowed to save? Minalan me'efo. What's the source that you're allowed to save the rodef by killing the rodef? Save the victim by killing the rodef. Atya, it comes bekal v'chomer, from an even more so argument. If so, then mina'ara hama'orasa, from the case of a na'ara hama'orasa, from the case of the rape of an engaged woman. Ma na'ara hama'orasa. How in the case of na'ara hama'orasa, in the case of the rape of a married woman, shalo ba'el lepogma, that the sinner is only, there's a double negative, is not coming for anything other than to degrade her. So if we smooth out the double negative, then na'ara hama'orasa, the sinner is only going to degrade the woman. Amra Torah nitan lahatzila b'nafsho, and the Torah said you are allowed to save her by killing him. So if you are allowed to save the na'ara hama'orasa from rape, where there's only degradation at stake, rodef achar chavero l'hargo al achat kama v'kama. So in the case where one is trying to kill someone else, al achat kama v'kama, even more so. It goes without saying that if you can kill to prevent rape, where no one's life is on the line, just someone's dignity and someone's and the degradation of a person, then obviously you should be allowed to kill to prevent murder. But the Gemara questions, v'chi onshin min hadin, but do we punish based on logic? Min hadin means based on logic. Not the kal v'chomer is a logical tool in which we compare two different topics and we say, one is more stringent than the other. And the Gemara is assuming, and this is a general assumption throughout the Gemara, that we do not punish people based on logic. We don't punish people because logic, while it is a useful tool, is not as explicit. It's not as rock solid, so we can't punish someone based on it. Debate Rebbe Tana, so in the Beit Midrash of Rebbe Yehuda Anasi, Tana, they taught Hekeshahu. It's not a kal v'chomer, it is a juxtaposition. And that means when two different halachot, two different psukim are juxtaposed next to each other, when they are put next to each other in the Torah, especially if it seems a little odd or unnecessary. And so we said so we can borrow halachot from one topic to the other. So the hekesh is found here. Ki kasher yakum ish arehe u'ertzachon nefesh. We'll scroll over to number 2. So footnote 2 here points to this pasuk. Lo na'ara lo taseh davar. Don't do anything to the woman. This is from the psukim of na'ara hama'orasa, where a married woman is raped. So don't do anything to the young woman. Ein la na'ara chet mavet. The na'ara did no sin deserving death. Ki kasher yakum ish arehu. Because this is like yakum ish arehu, when a fellow gets up against his friend u'ertzachon nefesh, and he murders him. Kein hadavar hazeh. So the pasuk juxtaposes, it compares this idea of rape of a married woman and na'ara hama'orasa. And the Gemara says, V'chi lamad dumei rotzeach. And what are we actually learning from this mention of murder? It doesn't actually teach us anything. The pasuk already said, don't kill her, don't punish her. So why bother mentioning murder? Me'ata, now we see, harezeh ba lilamed. It looked like it was coming, lilamed, to teach it. Murder was coming to teach us something. V'nimtza lo made. But actually, we are learning something about murder. It's in the pasuk, it seems like murder, it teaches us about rape of a married woman. But in fact, rape of a married woman teaches us about murder. Makish rotzeach l'na'ara hama'orasa. So we finally have a juxtaposition of murder to the rape of a married woman. Ma na'ara hama'orasa nitan lahatzila b'nafsho. So in the case of rape of a married woman, you are allowed to save her with his life. So if you're allowed to kill to prevent rape of a married woman, af rotzeach nitan lahatzila b'nafsho. So you're also allowed to to kill the rodef in the case of rotzeach, not because of a logical comparison, but because the two topics are mentioned right next to each other in the pasuk, we borrow the halacha of saving the na'ara and we apply it to saving the murder victim, Shia. Okay, we have to switch documents. Just hold with me for a second, because that last bit about katan harodef is on an earlier daf, not on our big PDF. So I apologize for not having this ready. Ein ayin bet amud bet. Just a few lines here. So we start with Amar Rav Huna. Amar Rav Huna, Katan harodef nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho. If a minor is chasing someone, if a 10-year-old is trying to kill someone, nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho. You are allowed to save him with his life. You're allowed to kill the katan to prevent the murder from taking place. Kasavar, Rav Huna must think, rodef einot sarich hatra'ah. Rodef does not require a warning. Lo shna gadol, lo shna katan. Doesn't matter if he is an adult or a minor. And we're going to see this Rashi here. Kasavar Rav Huna. So Rav Huna must think, rodef ein sarich hatra'ah. Rodef never requires a warning. Le'inyan lahatzilo b'nafsho. Sorry, that's the wrong Rashi. Nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho. That you are allowed to kill the katan. V'hai, starting here, v'hai afagav de katanu. In this case, even though he is a minor, v'lav bar kibulei hatra'ahu, and he is not capable of accepting a warning. We mentioned in class that a katan is just not neurologically developed enough for us to say that he's capable of processing the warning he's given. L'gabei redifa dino ki gadol. So even though a katan is not capable of accepting a warning doesn't ever really apply to a katan because the warning is useless when it comes to a 10-year-old because they don't understand it. We still say that you're allowed to act like he's an adult. You're allowed to kill him the same way as you kill an adult. So Rav Huna must think, doesn't matter if he's a minor or an adult. Eitivei Rav Chisda Rav Huna. Rav Chisda challenges Rav Huna based on a source. Mishnah Noah, Yatzaro Sho Ein Nogin Bo. In the case where the baby the head is out, but the childbirth is endangering the mother's life, Ein Nogin Bo. We don't touch the baby, we don't kill the baby, Lefisha Ein Dochin Nefesh Mipnei Nefesh, because we don't push aside one life for another life. Va'amai. Why? Rodefu. The baby should be a rodef. The baby should be considered a rodef. He's endangering the mother's life, so go ahead and you should be, if you're allowed to kill a katan rodef, you should be allowed to kill the baby. Shani Hatam, that case is different. The case of the baby, Dimishamaya Karat Fila. Literally translates to from heaven is the one chasing her. We say that the baby, we can't consider the baby the rodef because the baby's not even doing any action. Maybe a 10-year-old with a gun is like, even if they're not deserving of punishment because they're not old enough, they're actually doing something. That we would call them the rodef, but the baby who's literally just, it's nature, it's fate, it's decreed from heaven, whatever that means, we are not allowed to kill the baby. Okay, that's the Gemara for this video.